Summer is almost ending, guys, and it's time to start thinking about our upcoming homeschool year, which I know many of you guys have been. And today I want to share with you guys how I plan our entire homeschool year. If you're new to my channel, my name is Vanya and I make videos to help you on your homeschooling journey. And today I've joined in a collaboration created by Ashley from Dash of Home. And there's going to be a whole other homeschooling YouTubing mamas who are going to share with you guys how they also plan their entire homeschool year. So check out the playlist in the description below. Check out Ashley's channel and let's begin. Now, when you think about planning your homeschool year, there's a lot that goes along with that. It's not just picking curriculum. There are so many little details that go into planning an entire 9 months or 12 months, depending if you're a year-round homeschool or not, school year. So I want to just break it down for you guys step by step and discuss all the things that I do to start thinking about the homeschool year and planning for it. So obviously the first thing is your curriculum. That is like, get the curriculum, you get the majority of your work out of the way. The first thing that I do is think about what curriculum has been working for us. And I will just go ahead and just order the next level up in all of those areas. If there's a curriculum that hasn't been working for us, I'm going to be looking through YouTube videos and then websites and asking questions on Facebook groups to try to do some research to figure out what other options are there. How are these other options going to meet my kids and my needs better? So there's a big research process that happens throughout the whole summer. That's what I did this year for history. It took me a very long time to finally decide on what we were doing for history. If you want to see what we're doing for history, check out the video here that I just posted on what we're going to be using for history this upcoming homeschool year. But it took me a lot of time to do all the research because you're going to be stuck with this. Well, you're not necessarily going to be stuck with it the whole year, but if you're going to put up the money to buy a whole new curriculum, you want to make sure that it's going to be a good fit for your family as much as possible. So you want to do a lot of research, watch a lot of reviews, watch some day in the life videos, like a lot of those things I post on my channel. I do it for you guys for the same reason. I also have to decide if I'm going to add any new electives to our homeschool year. Is there something new that I want to teach my kids? Is there something new my kids want to learn? Is there a new elective that I want to add into our homeschool rhythm or into a curriculum? And once I've decided on that, I decide if I'm going to break my year up into semesters or trimesters, or am I going to do this elective throughout the whole year. So I have to decide on that. I also have to decide on science. Am I going to do a whole science curriculum or am I going to do unit studies? Things of that nature. So once you have your curriculum all set, you've got like majority of the work is out of the way. Another thing that I do to prepare for our homeschool year, I have to start thinking about the social aspect. How am I going to get my kids active and engaged with other kids? And for us, that comes to our homeschool co-ops, and we are part of 2 homeschool co-ops. So our first homeschool co-op offers classes. So once they offer those classes, I'm going to be on that website and I am going to be checking out what classes are offered, discuss with my kids, see if there's anything that they need help in. Let's say if my child has a weakness in writing, maybe I'll sign them up for a writing class. If my other child has an interest in cooking and art, I'm going to sign them up for those classes. I also want to think about classes that I'm not going to teach, like art or music, and add those in for the homeschool year. So that's part of the planning process. And then the other thing is to write down all of the field trip days. Our second co-op is a field trip and play date co-op. So once their calendar goes up, my calendar gets open and I start writing out all of the dates in my calendar for all of these events. Now this is important because I have to take some things into consideration when I'm making my daily schedule. Number one co-op is going to take up a whole day of the week, so I know that I'm only going to have 4 days in my week to plan out my curriculum. So that's going to decide how I'm going to break up my science and my history. How many lessons am I going to need? How many days off can I actually take for these field trips? Do I just take half days? So, and writing all these things down in my calendar, all the events and the co-op classes and things like that, is going to give me a better overall picture. I also want to decide on an end date. So if I feel like I want an end date, let's say I want my kids to get off, my homeschooled kids to be done school by the time their older sister, who is in public school, gets off, then I want to make sure that I am calculating those days and the lessons needed to be complete around that same time. And I should probably mention that when I'm planning my homeschool year, my planner, my new planner, is out on the table for me to see and be able to write all these things down. I also have to decide on the holidays that we are taking off. Are we taking off Martin Luther King Day, or are we doing homeschool? If my child has off of school for a teacher whatever day, are we going to continue to do school, or are we going to take that as a family day? So I'm going to think about all these things and start marking off our off days, as well as birthdays. We usually have off on the kids' birthdays, and any fun holidays or random off days that I want to schedule for the kids. Now, also in writing out in a planner the holidays that you're going to be celebrating and any fun days, try to get in the habit of looking 2 weeks in advance of your calendar and see what's coming up, so that you can make sure that you order your books and your crafts on time to be delivered, or delivered from the library on time. You want to make sure that you have everything so you can actually go through with that beautiful plan that you had. I don't know how many times I've had things on my calendar and then I forget to look at it, and then this great day that I had planned for a specific holiday never happened because I wasn't prepared. So another thing I'm going to do to prepare for our homeschool year is I'm going to create goals for my kids. I'm going to look back over everything that happened last year and say, okay, what are my kids' weaknesses and what are their strengths? What do I see in them that I want more of? What do I see in them that I want less of? Do they need more time with friends? Do they need less screen time? Do they need more time doing hands-on projects? Do we need more read out loud time? Do we need less dawdle time? Do I have a student who needs to be more independent or focus better? What are their individual needs? And I'm going to create these goals and have it written out along with a vision for my homeschool. I'm also going to write down a vision. What do I want my homeschool day to look like? When I think of a beautiful, perfect homeschool day, now there is no beautiful, perfect homeschool day, but when I think of that, what does it look like to me? What time are we waking up? What is the first thing happening? How is it really peaceful? Is it calm? And then I think about how can I try to create to the best of my ability that environment. Now, of course, that's not taking into consideration the attitudes of the children, how I'm feeling that day, but you still want an overall vision of what your day is going to look like. And then, so you have your children's goals, you have your homeschool vision. Now you have to create your rhythm. A rhythm is going to say how your day flows. So we don't do schedules. We do a rhythm. Sometimes you can consider it kind of like a block schedule, which is kind of like our rhythm for a day. So within this period of time, we are doing these first things, and so on and so forth. So we did have a typical rhythm this past homeschool year, and you can see one of my homeschool day in the life videos, you'll be able to see. I apologize if that just got cut off. My son came in the room and I totally lost my train of thought. I also want to decide on my homeschool schedule. So there are a bunch of different types of homeschooling schedules. There's year-round homeschooling. There's following your public school. You could do Sabbath homeschooling, which is 6 weeks on, 1 week off. Again, you just continue throughout the whole year. There's just so many different things you can do. You can make up your own schedule. Maybe I'll make a video. I have a really old video on that, but I'll make a new video on all the different types of homeschooling schedules. But then I want to decide on that. I think we're going to do a form of Sabbath homeschooling this year. But anyway, you're going to go in your calendar and you're going to X off those days that you're deciding to have off. Now, when you're thinking about your curriculum, when you're thinking about your schedule, and when you're thinking about when you want to be done school, you have to take into consideration there will be sick days. Family might come in town, you may have an emergency. Just take all these things into consideration and don't get so stuck on a schedule that like you're gonna stress yourself out, like I have to be finished by this day. Just be flexible, be open. You wanna just have an open mind and a kind of a guideline, but you know, life happens. Personally, this year I'm adding 2 weeks to my end date to take into consideration all of those days. So instead of thinking about being done, let's say the second week of May, I know I'll be done before June. And of course, now my dogs are barking. After you have all the important things out of the way, you know, your planning and your scheduling and your curriculum and your visions and your goals and all those things that take a lot of thought and a lot of decision making, it's time to get physical and clean up your homeschool space. So if you have a homeschool room or a homeschool space, the next thing I do is I go through all of my bookshelves, take out any books that we're not going to be using. So in the beginning, when I first started homeschooling, you can see on my homeschool tours here, we had a whole bunch of different homeschool spaces throughout the 11 years that I've been homeschooling. But over those years, we have minimized a lot of what we use. So I don't purchase books that much anymore. I get encyclopedias, like those DK encyclopedias and things like that, things that we can always refer back to. But most of the books I get from the library because, to be honest, we read them one time and we never read them again. If there's a book that we really love, then we will go ahead and purchase that after we've gotten it from the library first. So that saves up a lot of space. Now, we don't have a homeschool room anymore. I have a temporary homeschool space right now. I have a built-in bookshelf where I put all of my stuff in, and then I converted part of my kitchen area into some storage space while the rest of my house, my other homeschooling space, we start ordering furniture for that space and everything. You're gonna start decluttering your paperwork and throwing out any markers that don't work, and take inventory of all the stuff that you have and all of the stuff that you need. So I spent the day doing this yesterday where I was sharpening. I found a whole bunch of color pencils when color pencils were on my list of things to buy. Don't need to get them now. I found a whole bunch. I sharpened all of them. I redid my little pencil spinny thing and my art little spinny thing. And I know that I need to buy markers, and there's specific things that I need to buy, but I also have a lot of stuff, so I don't need to go out and waste money because in cleaning up all my homeschool supplies, I see everything that we do need. You're also going to want to go through your science and history and language arts curriculums and see all the things that you're going to need, at least for the first semester, and go ahead and start ordering all of those things so that, and you know, to decide if you're going to buy the books that you need for the upcoming units or start getting them from the library, and just have everything in order so that your first school week, your second school week can be smooth. Another thing I do to plan for my homeschool year is start breaking my kids of their summer routine. We have had the worst, I mean, I guess to them it's like the best schedule, but I guess it's not the worst schedule. It's a fun schedule. We basically wake up whenever we want, we go to sleep whenever we want. The kids have an hour or two of learning time, outside time. We have a whole like summer schedule that we do. But as far as waking up and going to sleep, it's just whatever. I mean, they have to go to sleep by a certain time. I don't like them to go to sleep past midnight, but you know, it's pretty late for a kid, midnight, but we're all up together as a family and then we sleep in, and it's nice and relaxing for me. So I allow them to do it as well because there's gonna be a lot more structure come day number 1 of our homeschool year. So breaking them of that routine, starting to get them up earlier and getting them to bed earlier is something that I need to plan for at least 2 weeks in advance from our start date. Getting them on a new schedule, new rhythm, new routine, decreasing their screen time, and getting their brains ready basically. And then the last thing you want to think about when planning your homeschool year is, are you going to do something special for that first day of school? Are you going to present them with all their school supplies on that first day of school? What can you do to make their first day exciting? Because let's be honest, like most kids don't like school when they had this nice little summer break. If you're not a year-round homeschooler, or even if you homeschool through the summer but it's been more relaxed, when they know that school is starting, it's like, you know, so to make something exciting for them is a good idea for your sanity. So those are my tips, guys. Make sure you check out the playlist for other people's tips and ideas. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next video.